Hello and welcome to my chess lesson. Today, my topic is about mobility versus material. Sometimes in chess, one side has a huge material advantage, but still they lose in chess. It's because of bad mobility of the pieces. Okay, so mobility is very important. You might have a huge material, but it doesn't mean that you're going to win all the time with material if your piece does not have any mobility. Okay, and you can have a look at this position. Here you can see black's material advantage is really huge, but black is not really able to use any of the material. And also white is also not really able to use the king. Okay, so and algorithms believe this position is a draw. Okay, initially they believe this is a draw and they are not able to find even the world's best algorithms. Okay, so you can think for a while and come up with a strong idea. So you can think here. So the material, as I told, it's huge for black, but still without mobility, it's not possible for black to win. So here you see white is going to win the game because white has the rook and knight. Usually without the support of the king, it's quite difficult to mate unless the opponent blunders something like the Arabian mate or something getting into the corner. You can force a mate. If they don't go to the corner, it's very difficult. And here you can see white still wins. You can calculate. So think about the mobility and the piece maneuver, how to drive the king to the corner. So that could help you here. Okay, so you should not make the first move knight c6. If you are going to play knight c6, it's going to be a stalemate. Okay, so that is one thing which you must be aware of. Any other try we can think? So knight c6 is not going to work. Okay, so first we can go knight to a6. You see, so the king won't be able to go to b8. So we have to drive the king to c. I mean from c8 to d8. Okay, so we need to slowly take all these squares one by one and then push the king all the way to the corner here. Okay, so how can we do that? So we need to drive slowly, we need to drive the king there. And that too, only with the knight and the rook. So you can think. So what would be the next move? Okay, so can white play knight b8? Yes, knight b8. And if you're not able to find this, it's okay, because the algorithms are also not able to find this. They also believe it as a draw. Okay, so now you see, the best thing is king will not go very far. The king will try to come closer. Now we have to keep the b8 square in control, and we have to slowly drive the king to the corner. Okay, so from b8, where should the knight go? And of course, the knight is not going to go to c6. If the knight go to c6, then it's a stalemate. Okay, so we can go knight to d7. So now the king is forced to go to c8. I mean d8. From here, you see, the king can come outside. Okay, and once if the king comes out, then the mobility increases. So we have to keep this rank also. At the same time, we have to restrict the c8 square. So knight has to go to b6. Okay, so they go to d8. Okay, now we need to push the king further. Okay, now how to win the d8 square? So we have to get the knight to c6 soon, and then we have to push the king to e8, because the king will once again come to d8, so we have to fight for the d8 square. So how do we do that? So you can plan here. So there's a way to do it. How to drive? Okay, can we go knight to c8? We can think. So knight to c8 is good, because king has to go to d8. Now try to take away the d8 square away from the king. So how do you take the d8 square away from the king? Yes. So we have to go knight e7. Okay, so forcing the king to go to e8, and now we need to take this square. So how do we take this square? Any other try? So we can go knight to c6, forcing the king to f8. Okay, now we have to take this square with the knight. So again, you can try. So knight has to go to d8, and then the king would go to e8. Now we have to take this square with the knight. So you can think for a while. The same kind of pattern. So you can try. So how do we chase the king away from the e8 square with the help of the knight? Okay, knight has to go to f7. So now the king has to go to f8. Okay, so we need to take the e8 square, so knight can come to d6. So king has to go to g8, and now how do we take this square with the knight? We can try. So knight has to go to e8, and here too the computers believe this position is a draw. Okay, but now they change the evaluation after knight e8. I mean king f8, and now knight to g7. Okay, so you see the king is driven all the way to f8. Now it's going to g8. Okay, now we have to stop this. So knight to e6. So the king has to go to h8. Okay. Okay, now if you play knight f8, king g8, knight h7, king h8, and knight f6 would be a stalemate. So from here we cannot repeat the same pattern, because if I go here they will play this, and if I go knight h7 they will go here, and if I play knight f6 it's going to be a stalemate, right? So this pattern works still here. So knight e8, this is fine. King f8, knight g7, king g8, knight e6, king h8. Now we have to change. So focus on the mobility. So rook has to go to a check. Okay, and then king goes here. Okay, now black's king's mobility is only this square. So we need to drive the king all the way to h6. So how do we drive it? So we have to make a waiting move. And there are a few possible ways to do it. Okay. So rook, we can wait here. Rook b8 or c8 or d8, any moves. We can wait on this rank. So king goes to h6, and then we can go rook h8. See, going back. And the amazing thing which I like about this position is these maneuvers, knight maneuvers, are like a triangle. You see, here, it's like this. Okay, so this is a very instructive one. Okay, so you see, without mobility, black was not able to fight here. Okay, so mobility is very important. So without mobility, material won't be helpful. Okay, so this is the case here, and I'll show another example related to this. Okay, here you can see black's mobility is, I mean black's material is huge, but then the king's mobility is really bad. Okay, and black is losing mainly because of the king's mobility. So you can think for a while and come up with a very strong idea. So we can win most of the black pieces with tempo. Okay, so try. So this is a strong way to do it. Okay, so you can calculate. Okay, so first we can play queen to c3. Okay, because we want to enter there. And see, the main thing is once we enter here, we want to connect to this squares, the light square. So basically, if we take on b2, we can take on b8, but we won't be able to connect to the light squares. Okay, that I will demonstrate now. So queen to c3, check. So king has to go to g8, and then we can give a check on c8. Okay, so now they have to block. So queen f8 is forced. Okay, now you can use the queen like a staircase. It should be coming like this. So this is one idea in chess. Okay, so queen e6 check. So king has to go to h8, and then we can go queen to e5, see, like a staircase. Okay, so queen e5 check. King has to go to g8, and then we can take on d5. So again king has to go to h8, queen to d4 check. So king has to go to g8, and then queen c4. You can see it's coming like a staircase, right? The moves are like staircase. So king h8, queen c3, king g8, queen b3. So king has to go to h8, and queen takes b2. You see, the queen movement is very instructive in the staircase method. Okay, so king goes to g8. Okay, so this is one weak spot. Okay, if we could get the queen to h7, it would be great, right? Because we have support from the king. So in that case, we need to win this rook with a tempo. So how do we do that? So again, we have to use the staircase and then connect here and then try to enter there, right? So queen b3 check. Black has to move to h8. No other options. So king h8. And then we can go queen c3 check. So all the moves are forced here. We can see that clearly. So king has to go to g8, and then queen can go here. You see the staircase. So king h8, and queen to d4 check. So king has to go to g8, and then queen to d5. So now we can take this. So king goes to h8, and queen can capture on h1. So they won't be able to move to g8 because of mate. So they have to block the check. So the only possible way is knight to h2. This is a strong block. Okay, queen h6 is weak. So knight has to go here. Okay, so now we have to again try to enter here. Okay, so that means we have to reach here. We have to place our queen somewhere on e6 and then drive the king there, and we have to connect like this. Okay, so again we have to use a very long staircase. You see, check, 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 and here, and then it's over. So queen goes to a1, check. King has to go to g8. Queen goes to a2. King has to go to h8. Queen b2, check. King g8. Queen b3, check. King h8. Queen c3, check. King g8. See, this is the important crucial point here. Once we get here, we can connect, right? So queen has to go to c4. You see the staircase maneuver. So king h8, queen has to go to d4, and then king has to go to g8. Queen d5, check. King has to go to h8. Now we have queen to e5, check. So after queen e5, they have no other options, right? So they have to repeat the same moves. So queen e5, king g8, and then now how do you force the mate shortly? Do you see? Queen e6, king h8, and then queen to h3. It's over. Queen is going to go to h7, and if they try king g8, we can play this. Okay. And also sacrificing the queen is not going to stop the mate. It is going to delay the mate. It could only delay the mate. Okay, so queen h6, and we have mate. Okay. So in both the examples, we saw that material in chess is not everything. Okay. So mobility is very important. That's why chess is an art. Okay, if you make these kind of studies, you will understand a lot of things. Okay, and we will analyze more in the upcoming lessons. Okay, thanks for watching. If you like, subscribe to us, and if you have any questions or queries, feel free to contact us. Thank you. Have a nice day.